Hi, welcome to Cop Shop. This is Nicole Brown. I am the Public Information Officer for Farmington Police Department. And today we are going to be talking to Eva. She's with our Records Department, and we have lots of exciting information on our new online reporting system. Hi, Eva.
Hi, Nicole.
How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Good. So let's start with you. Tell us about yourself, how you got into police records and kind of your background in it. And
Sure. Well, I moved here 23 years ago from Southern Arizona, and while I was in Southern Arizona, it was in the Gila Valley. I worked for the Gila Valley, or the Gila County Sheriff's Office in Globe, Arizona, where I was a dispatcher and a records technician. After a stint at the county attorney's office, I moved here. My parents had relocated here, and I wanted to be near the area. It was gorgeous, and be near them.
it is a good spot.
So after establishing ourselves here in Farmington, then I saw an opening for a records technician in 2001 and applied and was lucky to get that. I think there was like 160 people that applied. I was shocked.
My gosh.
It's a great place to work. I totally understand why so many people applied.
Yeah.
And so I went to work in January of 2002 as a records technician. About a year and a half later, my supervisor was retiring, and I saw an opportunity to put in for that position and did, and got that. So I've been the civilian ops supervisor for about 15 and a half years now. I've been with FPD 17 and a half years.
That's so awesome.
I love my job there.
And just so everyone out there knows, Eva's really amazing at what she does. And she's really great.
I have a passion for it.
You're great. So we are going to talk about online reporting and kind of how I guess you can probably tell us more about how Farmington Police Department has decided on this.
Sure. So as you're probably aware, anyone that lives in Farmington, our city is crowded almost every day of the week. We are the shopping mecca, and we have so much to offer people. So they come from all over, Colorado and Utah and Arizona. But we only have limited resources of how many officers are on the streets, and we have high priority of calls. Mm-hmm. We saw as records techs, people come to the lobby there at our station on Municipal Drive, and they need to make a police report. Maybe they've lost their cell phone, and they need it for insurance purposes, so they can get another one. We tell them, we'll call dispatch, or we'll have you call dispatch. From being from dispatch, that can be a while.
Yeah,
and we'd
definitely
see that citizen sitting there, and they have things to go do, kids to pick up from school or what have you, and we just thought, I wish there was a way we could get them to file the report, get what they need for insurance, and get on their way. Mm-hmm. So when I've learned of this program and how easy it was and how people could do it from anywhere, virtually anywhere in the world. So even if they've visited our city and gotten home and realized they lost something while they're in Farmington, they just have to get to the internet and have an email address, and they can file their report.
So the only two requirements to do this is have internet access and have a valid email address.
That's right.
That's pretty cool. So what kind of reports can they make through this?
Well, so we're still just beginning with this process. We've had it live for almost a year, and so people have stumbled on it and found it up until now. We have 8 different incident types, if you will. One of those is vacation watch. So if you're going to go on vacation, you'd like the police to frequent your residence and drive by and just check, and this is a service you can file through our online reporting that you're going to do a vacation watch, and we put that onto the law enforcement intranet, so all the agencies in our area will see that vacation watch. That's no guarantee they're going to check it multiple times, but it's going to be on their radar to be looking at. And if you've reported in your online report that there should be no cars, no one at the house, no lights on, whatever, and the police see that, then they've got something to go off of. So that's one of our incident types, and I think it's one of I'm hoping becomes a popular one.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the other 7 types are anything from an animal complaint. And we want everyone to understand out there, if you need an officer right away, this system has some stop safes in there built in, and it's going to tell you to stop filing the report at this point and call dispatch. We put the number up there in red for them, or on a red banner, so they see, if I've been bitten by a dog, I don't want to file that online. I want to call dispatch. I want an officer right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
That animal may need to be quarantined, or maybe it's a dog at large. We want to be able to get someone out there on that. But if you're reporting that the conditions of some dogs maybe at your neighbor's house are that you see they don't have enough water, they're not out of the elements when it's cold, then this is an avenue you can report that on. Also harassing phone call. And again, all of our incident types, if you have suspect information, we don't want that through this avenue. We want you to call dispatch and ask for an officer.
Right, because the officers then can pursue that information. But if you don't have it, this is the best way.
Exactly. So if you've lost your cell phone and you're pretty sure you were at the mall or wherever, a park, a city park, it doesn't matter where. It just has to be in the city limits of Farmington that the crime occurred. The theft occurred there, or that, let's say, one of the things we do accept reports on is identity theft. And we want people to understand that's not when you've had your credit card stolen or you've lost your credit card. That's when someone used your personal identifiers to obtain credit fraudulently in your name, but they're now using your ID to do that.
Yeah, they're using your personal information
Right.
to get new credit lines instead of
And we've
using
seen
yours.
actually, out of the reports that have been filed on this system that we offer, I think we've already had like 7 identity theft reports filed through this online reporting system.
Oh, man. And it is something that you have to really watch. They have
Especially with
all
the
that
internet
stuff.
now. We're all shopping and
all of our
putting
information's floating out there.
That's-
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Some other incident types are shoplifting if the item's under $250, and it was more of a grab and dash. If you have suspect information, again, we want the dispatch called.
Officers to go, yeah.
Theft, and this is like something maybe stolen off of your front porch, your bicycle, or your lawn furniture, whatever you have of value, and vandalism, graffiti, maybe damage to your vehicle while it was parked at home. So some pretty common incident types, again, all without suspect information. We want to have you file those online.
And also something that could get a report kind of bounced back or not through the system is if it's not within the city limits of Farmington.
That's right.
Correct.
So we have a records tech that reviews these every day, Monday through Friday, 7 to 5. And our technicians are reviewing them to see where did the crime occur, was there suspect information that maybe they got bypass that stop and we're reading. We've even helped solve another major crime because in the report, the person's indicating a major crime that happened. She was reporting something as a side effect of that crime, but she mentions a major crime. And so right away we got the information to the right agency, and although we didn't accept the report, we got someone in touch with that person right away. So real people, real technicians are looking at these reports, and if we have to reject it because it didn't happen in our jurisdiction, and that happens with the local casinos, neither one of them are in our jurisdiction, but there's larcenies that occur while people are parked there.
Yeah.
Then we'll reject it, but we tell them why. This happened in the San Juan County Sheriff's Department jurisdiction or Navajo Nation jurisdiction, and so we'll tell them where they need to go to file that report.
That's good information too. People sometimes they don't know where those invisible lines are, and so it's good to kind of
It happens.
steer them the right direction.
Right. We have people that live in the county, but they have a Farmington mailing address, and so
Yeah.
they believe they live in Farmington and they should file it there, and we'll have to direct them to the county sheriff's office for that.
Okay. And so if they file a report, and how do they know that that's been complete and everything's good to go?
As they go through the questions, there's some fields they have to fill in: their name and address, phone number, where the crime occurred, whether they're filing it for themselves or on behalf of a business they work for. When they get all through the fields that need to be filled in, there's a little submit button at the bottom. And once they click submit, immediately they're going to get an email saying their report has been submitted. And this is they'll get a temporary number, a temporary police number. And then once one of our records techs has reviewed that and has approved it, then they're going to get another email with their actual police report attached. And it's going to be a watermarked police report that says, I think, draft. After that process, we log it on a list that goes to the detective sergeant. And so a detective sergeant is looking at every one of these citizen reports and deciding if it needs follow-up. If it's going to get assigned to an officer or a specialty unit, maybe DCU or a school resource officer, or maybe there's nothing else that can be worked on this. It's now a closed case.
So it's being reviewed by a records tech and by an officer.
Yes.
So it's not that we aren't taking these
Right.
reports seriously. We very much are.
Very much, yes.
Awesome. And so we are able to pull up the website, and we're going to kind of walk through how to do this.
Yes, so when a citizen or a visitor who's gotten back home and needs to file a report, they would go to www.fmtn.org, and that's the City of Farmington's website. At the top there, you'll see in white letters, if you hover over services, you'll see police department, and the very top thing is file a police report. And so if the person will click there, it'll take them to first an information page, and it's going to ask some questions about whether if this is an emergency, they need to call 911. And so if they answer these next 3 questions, this is not an emergency, and the incident occurred within our city limits, and there are no known suspects, then they've already met that first level criteria, and they can proceed to the online citizen reporting. It tells them upon completion of the report what they're going to see, and to note filing a false report is a crime. And this is actually tracking IP addresses, so that if we see a multiple number of reports from the same IP that maybe someone's trying to commit insurance fraud, it'll flag us that you might want to look into this. It doesn't deny their report, but it's going to flag us.
Kind of an alert.
Mm-hmm. So if the incident is not listed in the category, it's going to direct them to call our non-emergency dispatch. And then if everything is in line with, and they're going to proceed, they're going to click here. And now this is taking them to the website where they can actually build the report. It lists the 8 incident types we have, and they're going to click on whichever one applies. And so for today, we're gonna file a lost property report.
All right. Lost your cell phone somewhere.
And it cautions a person the value of the property must be less than $1,000, and that can kind of get iffy on a cell phone. I think
that's true.
You might have to change that. I think cell phones are getting up there in cost.
They are.
So as you can see, we're going to just use some test information and file or fill out the fields. And if you don't fill out one that needs to be, it'll stop you before you hit submit. It's going to tell you this field's required.
And so, like we talked earlier, you have to have a valid email address.
You do. This is all being communicated through your email address. It's going to send you your draft or that you submitted a report right away. And if you don't have an email address, it can't do that. If you don't have an email address, we can't respond back with maybe follow-up information we need. Maybe the person indicated they got photographs of their bike they want to attach. They didn't come over. We need to contact them. We need the photographs. This lets them do attachments as well.
Oh, that's really great. So you can attach photos of maybe the screenshots of harassing texts or messages.
Sure.
Or pictures of the thing that was missing.
Maybe even your contract on your cell phone that shows your serial number and the cost, the value of it. So you can attach any document or picture to the police report.
That's great. And the draft reports that they receive back, is that something they can submit to their insurance while they're waiting for the...
I think a lot of insurance companies do accept that. I know that even on crash reports, if we just have a pending one, they'll accept those. I can't speak for all insurance companies, though. They might want the actual approved one that doesn't have the watermark that says draft.
Okay.
But that'll only be, if it's a Friday that you file this after hours, and we're closed in records, then the following business day that we're open on Monday, a records tech's going to log in and look at this and approve it. So you're only going to wait one business day.
Okay. We're getting through our property information.
So based on the fields that are being filled out, it's going to take you to other areas that it's going to want that color and the make and the model and serial number. So every incident type is a little different in how many screens you may have to go to. It just depends on whether you're reporting property or not.
Okay.
The vacation watch is pretty standard. I think it's a 1 page. You're going to fill out what you have, and maybe there's a narrative. So it just depends on your incident type on how many screens you're going to be directed through.
And when we say narrative, what is that?
That's just a little summary box that comes up, and you just freeform text, and you write in there what you want the officer to know.
Okay. Or your story of what happened.
Right.
Okay.
So now here we're at the, and that's this box now that people are seeing.
Okay.
This is our narrative box, and this is where you can put down any information you want the officer to know, the records tech to know. At first, it's going to be the records tech, so you're going to want to say where you were if you didn't get that, or what you noticed, anything. I've attached photos, anything you want to know. If it's a vacation watch, my sister will be checking on the house every day at noon on her lunch hour. She drives this car, and so this is where you're going to put any information you want an officer to know.
Awesome.
And so this is kind of your last step before you hit submit. It wants you to look at it and see, is everything current or correct? And if not, you need to change it. You can click on the modify button. It lets you edit that little area.
Okay.
Maybe it's the incident you need to modify or the property. And so if you look it over and, yep, this is all correct and I'm ready to submit, at the bottom, one of the two blue buttons, there will be submit report, I believe. And so now your report is complete. And I'm going to let my records tech at the station know that there's one in there, and for him to review it and approve it so that we can all see that.
We can see the result of
Yep.
that.
You'll have to go to the email address then to see. This is the watermarked report where it says temporary, I believe.
Okay.
And you're given, I think, a T case number where it's a temporary number. Once a record gets in there and looks at that and approves it, then that's going to integrate into our law enforcement records management system. So now it's going to become an actual police report as if an officer had taken it. And the number that they're going to get once Mr. Roseman back at the office approves this and you get it back in your email, you're going to get a PDF attachment with your actual police report and the new number. The permanent always number. It's not a temporary anymore.
And so that'll be your police case number that
Right.
the detective sergeant will review. And,
Right.
Okay.
And so if you're ever calling with supplemental information to add to that, and by the way, supplements on cases that weren't made here, that were made with an officer, maybe you had a burglary at your house, and now you've noticed 10 more things are missing, and he gave you the case number on a business card. You can go to this site and file just a supplement to your original case report.
Oh,
It
I
does
did
not
know
have to
that.
be just one of these incident types. So that's really handy for people that are discovering more things missing as they go. After the officer left and took the initial report, they can supplement their report.
Oh, that's great. I did not know that. That's really great information. So while we're into our email now, we can see that we've got our report.
So you saw that, the one down below at 1222, that's your temporary one, I believe. And that said you've gotten your report, you'll be notified of any problems. And now here's the one showing your actual police report. And this is your real number, so to speak. It's the one in the records management system. It's always going to start with the year and a dash, and citizen reports start with an 8. So we know in-house that that's a citizen report. And now you have an actual police report that you can take to your insurance. It doesn't have a watermark that says draft or temporary. It is the real deal.
And so we have a big event coming up in Farmington where people are going to be in our city.
Right, a lot of visitors at Connie
Yeah,
Mack.
a
Yes.
lot of people coming in for Connie Mack. And so this is a really great tool for them. If something happens, they
Right.
lose something's taken.
Because they may not even realize they've lost something until they get back home. And that may be, in Michigan. And they're home and they realize, oh, while we were in Farmington, this must have been taken. It's, the last place we stopped or the last place we were overnight with this item. How convenient for them to be able to go to their internet and just file the police report and get their report within, it's not always going to be this fast in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But if we're open, it's business hours, we're reviewing that all day. And so potentially within a few minutes, they could get their police report.
That is great. That's much more convenient than calling dispatch,
Right.
waiting hours, because sometimes it can be hours before officers can get to those kinds of calls, and then, waiting for that blocked number, unknown number to come up, and then going through the whole process. So this is a much faster process.
It is, I agree. I think one of the things that was concerning at first was, what if someone doesn't have an email address? And I think most people these days have that. But if not, then we're going to have them call dispatch and talk to an officer. And they can still do that even from Michigan. They could call dispatch and have an officer call them back.
Absolutely.
But we have a kiosk in the lobby. If they've already gotten to our police lobby and now they've been told, hey, you can file this online, they're not going to be home for a while with a computer. Maybe they don't even own a computer. They can use the kiosk in the lobby, or they can go to the city's library. They have computers there for people to use. I think there's a lot of outlets in the city where people can go file a report.
That's great. And you had mentioned about our kiosk that is checked every day.
Yes, it is. Well, we make sure it's up and running, and it's right on the page. As we showed earlier on the screen, it's already set up on that page, ready to go. But we have someone behind the wall, a records tech, that's reviewing that all day.
Awesome. Well, we are almost out of time, and so just a couple of things that we wanted to remind the community about. Our dispatch center here in San Juan County is currently hiring. It's a super great career opportunity. I worked there for 13 years and I loved it, and that position, the posting for that closes on Sunday, July 14th. That's the last day you can put in. If you are interested in public safety at all, that's a great place to start your career, or a great place just to grow your career, because it is a super great place to work. And then also, Farmington Police Department, we have Water in the Park coming up on Saturday. It's going to be from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Burke Park, and it's a really unique opportunity to come and talk to our district coordinator officers. Eva said she was riding her bike.
Yeah, on my day off, I was riding my bike, and I stopped there and got a bottle of water and visited with the folks from FPD. They're a great bunch of people.
Yeah, they are. The district coordinator unit is really great. So they're there to ask, you can ask any of your questions, and they've got great answers for you and comments. Or if you just want to visit and have a cold bottle of water on us, we will definitely supply it. So, Chief, Georgette, we missed you today. Shout out to you guys. And thank you, Eva, for coming. That was a ton of great information, and I'm really glad.
I'm excited that we offer this service now.
Yeah, this is great. That's it for Cop Shop. Join us next time on July 26th.
You're tuned to the beacon KSJE 90.9 FM, your information and cultural beacon for the Four Corners, serving Aztec, Bloomfield, and Farmington. Reach us today online at ksje.org.